4th council meeting to order. The time is now 6:01. Just a reminder for everybody to go ahead and make your telephone silent. I'm going to stand for the prayer. Mr. Napier.
In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Dear God, we seek your help with our affairs today. Bless this meeting with your divine intelligence and help us to make the best use of our own. We are of diverse opinion here, yet we wish to mend our differences and reach agreement satisfactory to all. Please share a little of your wisdom with us to help us to do right by all concerned. Also, let us pray for all our troops that are fighting for us at home and abroad, and all our veterans. This we ask in our Heavenly Father's name. Amen.
Ms. Broussard, the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Tommy Pollard. Here. Michael Landry. Here. Tommy Landry. Here. Lloyd Brown. Warren Goshasang. Here. Natalie Broussard.
Here.
Paul Landry.
Here.
Ricky Gosselin. Joe Dugas.
Here.
Eugene Olivier.
Here.
Brian Napier.
Here.
Burrick Francis.
Here.
Marty Trahan.
Here.
Chad Mottram.
Here. Turn on the podium. Okay, now we need a motion to go into public comments. I have a motion by Mr. Trahan and a second by Michael Landry. Do we have anybody in the audience to talk first about the...
Need a vote.
Oh, roll call. Warren.
Oh, man.
That motion passes. Okay, first we're going to have the, anyone that wants to speak about the non-agenda items. We have no cards on those. The second item is comments from the general public on agenda items. Persons being considered for appointment to parish boards, commissions to address the council. The first one will be Mr. Trey Hike. Judge Trey.
Good evening, members of the council. Thank you for the invitation to come tonight. Well, first of all, thank you for tabling my appointment last meeting. I appreciate that. I was out of town. And thanks for having me back. I've had the pleasure of serving on the Children and Youth Planning Board. I'm actually the chairman of the board and brought the little handbook that I have with me tonight just to read. I don't know if in the audience or even in the council, an idea of what we do. Y'all deal with a lot of boards and commissions. And but our mission statement's for children, and I'll just read it real quick. It's the created pursuant to a revised statute for the express purpose of assisting in the assessment, alignment, coordination, prioritization, and measurement of all available services and programs that address the needs of our children and youth. The identified children and youth are at risk for or identified with social, emotional, or development problems, including but not limited to educational failure, abuse, neglect, exposure to violence, juvenile or parental mental illness, juvenile or parental substance abuse, poverty, developmental disabilities, and delinquency. The board encourages collaborative efforts among local stakeholders for assessing the physical, social, behavioral, and educational needs of children and youth in their respective communities and for assisting in the development of comprehensive plans to address such needs. That's a long mission statement for basically saying that the stakeholders come together on a quarterly basis or so, and we meet and we talk about the needs of youth and how we can address those needs and what we're seeing from our different positions. I'm the New Iberia City Judge, so I kind of have that perspective, but everybody brings their individual perspectives. And I really enjoy it. I appreciate the opportunity, and any questions the board might have, I'd happily answer.
No, I think that's it. Thank you for your time, Mr. Hike.
Thank you.
Judge Hike. The next individual to address us is Mr. Stanley Small.
Good evening, council members. Let me first express my apologies for not being here at your last meeting. I had some previous commitments, so I just could not make it. I'm here tonight to make you aware of my intentions to continue to serve on the Youth Planning Board. I want to thank Trey for reviewing the goals and objectives, because I know you have so many boards, and it's just good to know what we're all about. So I won't do the same thing he did. My life's work has been with the youth. I've served in this education system for 33 years, and I've been on different boards addressing the youth concerns. So I want you to know tonight that I'm here. I would like to serve, continue to serve. I think I've been on this board since its inception, way back when it started. So I'd appreciate your consideration for my reappointment. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Our next speaker is going to be Mr. Matt Crochet, who's being reappointed to the Mosquito Board.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a veterinarian. One of the positions on the Mosquito Board is supposed to be a veterinarian. And I've been on the board for 6 years already, and applying for reappointment. I've lived in Iberia Parish all my life, south of 14 on Bayou Petitance, so I know about mosquitoes. And our board, the Mosquito Commission and the Mosquito Control Program, I think is an excellent program. We've Herf Jones runs a pretty tight ship, and the board is generally quite pleased with them. We don't have too many conflicts. Every once in a while something comes up, but overall it's been a very good program. And I think living where I live 15 years ago or 20 years ago, going outside at 6 o'clock at night versus going outside now is a night and day difference. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Otherwise, I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Crochet. Okay, now we need a motion to go back into regular session. We have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Mathurin. Roll call. Okay, that motion passes. We're now back in regular session. Reports on finance and administration action. Item number 1 is the balance sheet from November 27th. It's on request, and the budget report from November 2017 on request. Reports, parish and other governmental agencies, we have none. Public work reports. Number 1, Public Works report for closed work orders dated January 1st to 5th and 8th to 12th, 2018. Item number 2, Public Works Department report on open works orders dated January 16th, 2018. Special business, we have none. Now we go into council member announcements.
Turn phone off.
Mr. Napier, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to, Friday night, this Friday, the Jeanerette Chamber of Commerce is going to have their annual Outstanding Citizen Banquet at the Ward 8 Center, where they not only honor the outstanding citizen, but they have several volunteer, educator, youth. So if anybody's interested in having a good meal and honoring some of Jeanerette's finest, Ward 8 Center at 6:30 Friday. Thank you.
Mr. Olivier, you have the floor.
Yes, hello everyone. I'd like to give a brief report about the 94th annual convention. Police Girard Association Convention was held in New Orleans on January the 17th. The first meeting I attended was the Coastal Parish Caucus meeting. The presenter spoke about coastal faulting, about subsidence with the land on coastal areas, as well as salt dome issues that we discussed. The next presenter spoke about the National Flood Insurance Program. The effort is being moved forward to keep our insurance costs from rising. There are bills in Washington right now as we speak, which we need our Louisiana delegation to support, as well as the rest of the country. They ask that you personally contact your local delegation here in Louisiana and ask them to continue moving forward in keeping our insurance costs low for our citizens. I also attended the Louisiana Black Caucus meeting. It was a business meeting where we elected new officers and a luncheon. At this meeting, I want to report that I was voted the 2018 parliamentary for the caucus, which is a position on the board. The next meeting, the highway meeting, Dr. Sean Wilson of the Louisiana Department of Transportation updated everyone on the freezing conditions in the state. He also spoke about projects throughout the state, and he also mentioned that how the 17-cent sales tax, if it would have passed, would have really helped out a lot of the backlog projects in the state. The next meeting I attended was Park Recreation and Tourism. Our guest speaker was Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Mr. Nungesser spoke about the public library system. He spoke about tourism and how his office is working with parishes to promote this effort in Louisiana. He covered many projects across the state that was ongoing in tourism. He asked everyone to take advantage of the state ambassador program. Our local tourist commission can post pictures there and post events about like the gumbo cook-off, sugarcane festival, and so forth. And this is a national ambassador program that goes around the world. The next meeting I attended was Health and Human Hospitals. We learned about their budget, problems with real-time data to monitor trends in the healthcare industry. Also talked about a lot about the opioid problems in Louisiana and around the country. Resolution Committee was the next meeting I attended later that night. The meeting was short. We reviewed resolution and passed. At the end of the meeting, it was decided by the Police Bureau Association to end the conference because of the problems it was having with the freezing weather as well as the lack of water at the facilities where we stayed. So the convention basically ended the Thursday night. But we did have a full day of meeting, and I think it was well participated. We had a lot of people, of course, couldn't make it because of the freeze. But other than that, it was a well organized event. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any other announcements? I was also at the meeting, and I ended up attending a few that Eugene went to, but I was also at the criminal justice with Jeff Landry, and he talked a lot about the push they're having on Medicaid fraud. They've also issued 37 checks to law enforcement officers and firemen survivors for the benefits. A big, long discussion about the opioid crisis. Baton Rouge is the 23rd in cities with the opioid death, and Louisiana is 8th with the opioid prescriptions. He explained a lot about that problem is pushing the crime issue. And one thing they're starting to do is they're going to have drop boxes. All of us have medicine at our house that we quit taking and we're not using, and worried about your children grabbing it or friends of your children, and they'll be putting them out, and you'll be able to go and just drop your prescriptions in the box, kind of like the old mailboxes in those days. So he said that's working pretty successful. And again, it was cut on the first day, so that's all for there. Any other comments? Next, we go to parish president's announcements.
Well, Waterworks District Number 3, we just rescinded the bar water advisory. And speaking of Waterworks District Number 3, the last couple of weeks with the freezes, we identified a lot that's going on in the coastal area as far as water goes and the lines. Iberia Parish Government Administration met with Waterworks District Number 3 Board of Directors and Water District Number 3 Executive Director on Monday. We implemented several new policy changes, which include how communications will be delivered moving forward. We're now creating a Facebook page for Waterworks District Number 3, which will be up and running very soon. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll have all of that taken care of. Waterworks District Number 3 will start printing on all of its customers' invoices the Facebook address and Iberia Parish Government website so all customers can monitor all communications updates. Waterworks District Number 3 Board of Directors is also currently working on getting proposals for an emergency communication system where their customers could be notified when we have any types of issues. A couple of other things I'm going to pass on to you. We have the renovations of the New Iberia Veterans Memorial Building in City Park. Today I signed a contract with the construction company to do phase 1. That project is going to include the interior and exterior painting, the staining, sealing, and resealing of the exterior exterior portion of the building. We're going to do exterior pressure cleaning and roof repairs. Courthouse security. Today I signed the courthouse security contract without getting into much detail. Just wanted to let you guys know I signed that, but I'm not getting into a whole bunch of stuff with security here. Spraying contract. Today I signed that particular renewal contract with Brushmaster for the roadside and channel spraying program that we have. Also, the Robert B. Green Veterans Building renovations. We had a very productive meeting on yesterday with all of the stakeholders that's involved in that particular project. We should be going out for a bid, look like March 1st. Hope to have another meeting before March 1st with Mr. Lee from Facility Planning and all of the stakeholders, again, just to make sure everyone understands exactly what we're getting ready to do moving forward. As most of you know, that we have some foundation issues over there that we need to get addressed before we can try to start to repair that particular building. The renovations here in the courthouse, second floor, the common area, that work has gone very good. We have had some delays due to court scheduling. But that work is expected to be completed within the next 45 days. Actually, they say 30. I wrote 45. Exterior painting and waterproofing of the courthouse. That project is wrapping up. We should be at substantial completion within the next 30 days. A replacement of the railroad road bridge over Poufette Canal. That project is under construction and is expected to be completed sometime this month. Replacement of Bull Island Road Bridge over Norris Branch Bridge. That construction has begun, and we hope to be completed with that around March. And the replacement of Briarwood Bridge over Commercial Canal. We sent out a press release yesterday, and that the road is going to be closed, or the bridge is going to be closed on February the 2nd, and that should be completed sometime around sometime around the end of May. I think that's it. I don't think y'all want me to bore y'all. We have a lot going on, of course, in parish government. Not going to talk for a while, but I think that's good enough for now. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer anything that you guys may have.
Mr. Dugan?
Mr. Reshort, you said you signed a contract with the renovation, to do the renovations on the Veterans Building?
Yes.
Who was the contractor?
The contractor for the Veterans Building is Kearns Construction, and they're going to be Kearns Construction and Bonan for phase 1.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, next we move to consent agenda items for public hearing and adoption. Minutes regular meeting of the December 13th, 2017, published January 12th, 2018. Summary number 12, introduced by the parish president, a resolution authorizing the execution of a contract for medical services at the Iberia Parish Criminal Justice Facility with Correct Health, all contingent upon review and approval by the District Attorney's Office. Is any of those items that anyone would like to pull out? Mr. Napier.
I'd like to pull out summary number 12.
Okay. Mr. Goshasan?
I guess, Mr. President, I have to ask you on summary number 12. Do we have to do motion and second?
Yeah, we're just gonna.
I asked
We
to
made
pull
a
and then we'll
motion.
go ahead and approve minutes
So you
without
giving, you
objection.
giving us a second?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna pull item number 12, so we're gonna vote on the minutes. We're voting on the minutes, yeah,
Minutes fall.
yeah. Roll call? That motion passes. Ordinance introduced for a public hearing, there's none. So the first item we'll have is summary number 12, introduced by the parish president. Let's see. Mr. Napier?
Yeah. So I was reading this today, and just for public information, it says that the parish president's going to execute a contract for a year with renewing annually for 3 years. My question is an amount.
What was the amount? Nothing changed from last year's contract. Do you have it with you, Andy?
$518,510.42.
Per year.
Per year.
Okay. It just wasn't stated in there. I
Okay.
just would like to have
No big
seen
deal.
it. So thank you. That was.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
The same price as last year. We didn't have an increase at all. And we did, just so you know, we did get with Iberia Medical to try to see if they would provide that service for us. And no, we've spoken to other companies as well, and we couldn't get it at that price. I'm sorry, Andy.
Mr. Napier, it really probably ought to be characterized as an extension,
That's what it
a
is.
3-year extension of the existing contract, as opposed to a new contract. This is the same contract basically that we've had for the last 3 years. It's being extended
Another year.
for another 3 years.
Which you're gonna sign each
Every year, exactly.
Yeah. And so they go into the facility.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay, I'm good. Thank
Okay. Mr. Gusherson?
Mr. Richard, is this I guess they provide the service and then we pay, or do we pay before the service?
That was one of the things they had changed. They actually had in the language where they would invoice us prior to service, and that's not gonna happen. So they provide the service, then we pay.
So as service is rendered, then parish government pays?
Absolutely.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I had read that as well. That ain't gonna happen.
Ms. Broussard?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion approving this resolution.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Olivier. Roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 03, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution appointing Mr. Stanley Small as a member of the 16th Judicial District Children and Youth Planning Board, representing the parenting and youth organizations for the remainder of a 2-year term to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of term for Mr. Stanley Small, whose term expired December 13th, 2017. I have a motion by Mr. Brown and a second by Ms. Broussard. Discussion? Mr. Brown? Okay. Tommy Landry?
Wave.
Okay. Roll call. Roll call. That motion passes. Before I go to the next one, I just want to let y'all know, in case y'all see we having a little hesitation here, as I move one person off for the next speaker to come up, it takes a few seconds, and I was told that our language isn't coming out on the camera right away, so I'm actually waiting till the name appears in the spot, so just have a little patience with us. Item number summary 04, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution appointing Judge Trey Hike as a member of the 16th Judicial District Children and Youth Planning Board, representing criminal justice for the remainder of a 2-year term to fill a vacancy created by the expiration of term for Judge Trey Hike, whose term expired December 31st, 2017. I have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Napier. Discussion? Roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 13, introduced by Communications District, a resolution amending the 2018 Communication District fund budget in the amount of $580,000 to provide for the hiring of 3 shift supervisors and 8 call takers, all to be funded from the fund balance previous year's line item. I have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Napier. Discussion? Ms. Broussard? Mr. Napier? Mr. Goshasan?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I just want to, I guess, express again, I mean, the city, we're still all at the table, correct, to be one, even with the new police department coming?
You're talking about agreements for them to locate and
Correct.
go use our facility. I did reach an agreement in principle with the city for both. police
Mr.
and
Press,
fire.
could I interrupt you and ask you to come to the podium?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we did reach an agreement with the mayor of New Iberia. They will locate both their fire dispatching and their police dispatching, co-locate them with us and use our systems. We did not reach an agreement with the sheriff. We were still negotiating, but the sheriff decided that for a variety of reasons, they would rather establish their own facility. They did say they would be open in a couple of years to co-locating with us again. But this summer, they said they wanted to establish their own facility using their own software.
Does this interrupt anything that we have as far as now, as if the sheriff goes on his own?
No.
I mean, is there any potential that the call could be lost, or?
Well, what it means operationally is that if we receive a law enforcement call in the unincorporated, outside of the city of New Iberia, that call will have to be transferred. I wouldn't say that introduces a risk of call transferring. We transfer calls all the time to Acadian ambulance, for instance. I mean, we're transferring them dozens of times a day. So no, they won't have access to the same systems. That's something we'll have to figure out with them. We will still have accurate location information, which we can describe over the phone. They just want to be able to see the same maps that we're seeing. But we'll be able to tell them the caller is at the intersection of, Main and Hopkins, or, is in the vicinity of, if it's in a rural, in a farmer's field or something, we can give them a description over the phone.
Okay, thank you, Press. Mr. Chairman, I think it's extremely important that the city is at the table and that they continue to stay at the table with us as one, and I'm proud that Press is able to do that with the mayor. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 14, introduced by Parish President, a resolution requesting Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development to conduct a traffic light study for both sides of the intersection at US 90 and Louisiana Highway 83. I have a motion by Mr. Trahan, a second by Mr. Olivier. Discussion, Mr. Trahan? Mr. Olivier?
Question was asked about whether or not this was actually applied for already. I think the research Bertha did, we applied for a turnaround, I think it was,
For what?
on Highway 90 and Highway
For what kind of turnaround?
83.
Traffic study.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but this is for a traffic signal, but the past motion, I think you found, was for
Traffic circle.
a traffic circle, right, yeah. We never requested traffic lights at this intersection.
Okay. Is
That's
that
it, yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 15, introduced by the Regional Planning Commission, a resolution granting preliminary and final approval to the proposed Lanyap Estates located at the intersection of O'Day Road and Daspit Road, located in District 9. Have a motion by Mr. Dugas and a second by Mr. Olivier. Mr. Dugas? Okay, no other discussions. Roll call. That motion passes. We got a motion to adjourn. And a second, we don't have to vote on this. Yeah, we usually take a 5-minute break, but we're just gonna go ahead and roll into the committee assignment now.